Good afternoon and welcome to GrainTV. Today's January 20th, 2012. I'm Logan Burgess. Joining me to my right is my good friend Cody Bills. Cody, we saw the grain complex really rebound here this week following last week's USDA WASDE report, which sent the grains lower. Take a look here at the weekly price changes. We saw corn up 12.5, soybeans up 22.5, and Chicago wheat hanging in there up 7 3/4. Kind of the big fundamental news that came out this week was the export sales report, delayed a day this week, came out this morning. Take us through the numbers we saw there.
Export sales were slightly better than expected. We actually saw corn coming in over expectations, coming in at 760,000 metric tons. Beans well over the high side of expectations, coming in at 991,000 metric tons. And wheat at 587,000 metric tons. Let's take a look at the sales progress here. Week 19, we are ahead of pace 44 million bushels. Now, take into account, we're ahead of pace of the USDA expectations, and they actually revised their expectations up 50 million bushels last week. So yet again, we find ourselves in a very solid position for export sales for corn. However, since those week 8 of the export sales season, we saw really great sales, and then kind of lagging, it kind of faded off there. Well, this week we had another really good good export sales numbers, and that's good to see. We're unchanged in our position since last week. If you look at beans, we're actually behind pace, 44 million bushels. If you look at what WASDE came out with in their expectations, they actually lowered their export sales expectations by 25 million bushels, and that is on par with what this model is telling us. We're still behind. We're going to need to see a pickup in export sales. But the problem is that we're getting into a time of year where export sales, it's difficult. It gets more and more difficult to see good numbers out of export sales. So,
yeah, it kind of seasonally we don't tend to see a lot of export sales moving forward, as you were saying. Do you think though that this big we took a lot of cents off the table last week following the USDA WASDE report? Do you think that these export sales are going to continue here into next week and beyond? Yeah,
I mean, I think that what we saw last week was great export sales. Now, these export sales only go up to the 12th. Now, we saw the price just dive on the 12th as a result of the USDA report. We saw China come in there and buy 414,000 metric tons. That made the bean market just take a V-bottom and head back up. That number actually wasn't reflected in this week's report. It'll be reflected in next week. So I think that along with the other sales that FAS has, the Foreign Ag Service has announced, I think we're going to see another good week next week and possibly the week to come.
Right. Well, certainly export sales are going to be remain a large factor in this market. We'll keep you posted here on the export sales front on GrainTV. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or give us a call here at the office. Have a great weekend.